Do, do, do. Kitiku, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful day today. Boop, boop, doop, boop, 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 boop. Tonight, all the trivia questions are on Juan Corona, the Machete Killer. Juan Corona. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read up on him. I did. I had pretty much a relaxing day. Didn't do a whole lot of much of anything. So that was just what I wanted to do. Was not a lot of anything. Not today. Took notes, so cross your fingers. Lori Sutton, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant day today. Going to give it about 3 more minutes, and then we're going to get started. Waiting for people to log in. There's some people joining us now. Reba Crow. Hi, Will. I've missed you. Seems never to catch you live. Has the guy who killed the federal judge been caught? I don't know if he's been caught. They did release another press statement today that about him, about the man itself. But thank you for the question. I don't know. Don't know. Cheryl, good evening. Hello. I hope you had a great day today, Cheryl. Thank you for joining us tonight for trivia. All the questions tonight are on Juan Corona, the Machete Killer. He is a serial killer by all accounts. The FBI, he was convicted of 25 murders, but the FBI believes his body count is well over 60. They put it between 64 and 67. Gamma, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. He was a Mexican nationalist, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. A minute and 30 seconds, and then we'll get the trivia started. I see some people popping in who are catching us through Twitter, now X. And we've got 9 here on YouTube, catching it through YouTube. Oh, good evening, Interpeas, and thank you for putting the link up. I appreciate that. How have you been, Will, and how is your family? What are you doing for Thanksgiving? For Thanksgiving, the same as every year, I have my extended family comes to my house. Now, this year, my mother-in-law won't be here because she'll be out of town, but we'll have probably 15, 20 people here. I cook dinner for everyone. Some people bring side dishes, but overall, my family's been doing great. We're in that working up to Halloween right now, trying to get things in order for my son. On Halloween day itself at school, he's going to be giving a presentation on this book that he is infatuated with called The Evil Crayon. But or no, sorry, not the evil, the Scary Crayon. But it's not just him by himself. It's his whole entire classroom are doing a presentation on it. Good evening, Mel. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All right, time to get this party started, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put myself in my little window here in just a minute. We are doing all the trivia on Juan Corona, the uh, Machete killer, as he was nicknamed through the media. But first, I need to tell you about viewer discretion is strongly advised. All the content that I provide and stream through the different platforms, Twitter, Discord, X, Facebook, YouTube. None of this content is marked for anyone under the age of 18. It is meant for mature audiences, and even mature audiences may not like the content that I'm going to be streaming tonight because some of it is graphic in nature. But none of this content is also marked for anyone under the age of 13. If someone under the age of 13 is watching this content, they either lied to set up the account on the birth date or they're using a parental account, which is none of my fault. I have to say this, all that for every one of these streams because I'm required to, because I do stream and people do like to comment, hey, I'm only 12. Well, good luck. You're using someone else's account or you lied. It's not my fault. All right. Basic information about Juan Corona. Juan Halo Corona was born February 7th, 1934, and died March 4th, 2019. He was a Mexican nationalist serial killer who was convicted of murder of 25 migrant farmers who were found buried in peach orchards along the Feather River in Southern County, California, in 1971. Until the actual discovery of Dean Corll's victims, he was believed to be the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history to that point. Convicted of 25 murders, the Department of Justice and FBI have always believed he was responsible for as many as 63 murders. Corona was found guilty of first-degree murder in 1973. An appellate court overturned the conviction in 1978 on the basis of ineffective counsel. His attorney, ladies and gentlemen, side note, was a complete moron. He didn't put up much of a fight for him at all. Didn't even bother to, question a lot of the evidence of that case. It was a slam dunk, return on appeal. But anyways, and then he was convicted in 1982, again found guilty of all 25 of the murders, and died in prison in 2019. Basic rules of outline content for my trivia nights are we're only playing for fun. Have fun with it. You might learn something. These questions are not exploitive of victims' families. These questions are for educational purposes only. Use a search engine if you want. It's not cheating unless you call it cheating. Be warned, I have been known to place trick questions in the trivia. You may read it once as one way, and if you read it again, it actually is a trick question. Hateful or degrading remarks towards another person playing will get you timed out and banned. We are now up to 12 people who have been banned from either one of either my Saturday morning or my evening trivia night. 16 questions come from kingtrivia.com, and the 2 bonus questions are picked by me at random. If you wish to support my work, you can do so by those means that are on the screen, but it's completely optional. Just, I thank you in advance if you do, but if you don't have to do it at all. All right, the very first question is coming up. Juan Corona was a Mexican nationalist born where in Mexico? And good evening, Carly and Caroline. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a pleasant weekend. Med Gasky, good evening. Welcome as well. I hope you had a good weekend. Mel, good evening. I hope that I'm scrolling up here to see if I missed anybody else. Where was Juan Corona born in Mexico? Was it Mexico City? Elus, I can't pronounce that, or C, Cabo San Lucas, or D, Cancun. Dorothy Larkin, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. There's a popular song in your day called My Sharona. It's still a very popular song, isn't it? My Sharona. Will, I mentioned you in your journal. Well, thank you, Gemma. Carly and Kirikou are going with B. Dorothy Larkin, A. A. I'm trying to get myself in my little window here. There it is. Hello. I'm still here. Cheryl going with A. Who else we got here? We got Med Gas Guy is going with A. I'll choose B for being less known. I think it's pronounced Walisco. The J makes a W sound, Walisco. I don't know. Not very good with the Spanish language. From Glasgow, Scotland, sending you all a great big hello. Hello again from Glasgow, Scotland. Lori Sutton is going with C, Cabo San Lucas. All right, question number 1. The correct answer is B as in boy. B as in boy is the correct answer to question number 1. Question number 2 is a guttural sound. Okay, I'll try to remember that, Mel. Thank you. Convicted of killing 25 men, Juan had a certain method for dispatching every one of them but one man. He stabbed 24 of 25. How did he kill this one individual man? Was it A, poisoned him, B, hung him, C, shot him, or D, ran him over with a tractor? Convicted of killing 25 men, Juan had a certain method of dispatching every one of them but one man. He stabbed 24 out of 25. How did he kill this one man? Smoke him if you got him. Amelia. Good evening, Amelia. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. "24 of 25 men," but the FBI and the Department of Justice again believe his actual murder count is as high as 63. But only convicted of killing 25. Carl is going with C. Enter P's. E, he drank Corona and didn't share. That's a good one. Amelia is going with D. Ran him over with a tractor. Killed 24 of them by stabbing them to death. And the 25th one, well, he wasn't the 25th. He was actually, I think, victim number 4. But all the rest of them were stabbed to death with a machete. Huh? That's why they called him the Machete Killer. Gamma's going with A, poisoned him. 5 more seconds. All right, the correct answer to question number 2 is C, as in cat. He shot the one man out of all of them. The rest of them he stabbed with a machete. This one individual, he shot him 4 times at point blank range in the chest. What a nice guy. Yeah, right? Smith Shoes. That's all right, Smith. We're only on question number 2. I hope you had a pleasant weekend, and thank you for joining us tonight. Did you know? And it's empty. Well, I don't know where that one went. So we'll go on to question 3. Juan Corona buried every victim he killed uh, after killing them in the peach orchard. Why did he bury them in a peach orchard? Was it A, Juan hated peaches? B, peaches were a symbol of life to him? C, he hated the owners of those orchards? Or D, he lived there, he worked there, he killed there? Question number 3. Why did Juan Corona bury all of his victims in a peach orchard? Well, now we're only talking about the 25, not the 26 through number 63, only the 25. Making lunch, listening along. All right, Amelia. Mel, good evening, Mel. But didn't say hello earlier. Juan Corona buried every victim, number 1 through 25, in a peach orchard. Why? D seems to be a popular answer. Amelia's going with A. Juan hated peaches. A little bit of Sandra. Good evening, a little bit of Sandra. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. All right, question number 3. The correct answer is D as in dog. He worked there, he lived there, he killed there, he buried them there. It was more of a convenience. Try. All right. Side note: for every single one of his victims that he killed and then stabbed or shot, and then buried, he buried them all facing up, towards the top of the ground, not face down, but face up, and all of them with their hands above their head and their hands and palms faced this way. That was an easy way for them, as they've been finding bodies, to say, well, this migrant farmer, because they have found other bodies that have been murdered, in orchards in California, but they know that they're not his because he buried them all the same way. So they're facing up with their hands above their head. There's some other things that we'll get into about the bodies, but just wanted to let everyone know that there was a certain way that he buried every one of them. All right. Next question. Question number 4. During his it's supposed to be retrial, not retail, and sentencing, Juan Corona refused to eat anything supplied by the prison or jail because he believed they were going to poison him. What did he eat during his retrial and sentencing? Was it A, food from the commissary? B, fresh tacos from a street vendor? C, food made by his brother's wife, his sister-in-law? Or D, food from a vending machine? During his retrial and sentencing, Juan Corona refused to eat anything supplied by the prison or jail because he believed they were going to poison him. What did he eat? I guess it'd be more appropriate to say, where did he get the food that he ate? He had a particular MO. What a great guy, right? So many serial killers are great, upstanding individuals. C. Sandra is going with C. Moonlight View. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia, Moonlight View. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. E. Only Jolly Ranchers lower Vallo's lipstick. Haptude peach phobia, fructophobia. Didn't know that there are people who are afraid of peaches. I know people who won't eat peaches because they're fuzzy. They don't like the feeling of the biting into a peach that way. But they'll eat the inside of a peach, like or peaches from a can as long as they've been peeled. Purple, good evening, Purple, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Carly is going with D, food from a vending machine. So is cement shoes. I did, Moonlight View. I did have a great weekend. I didn't do much of anything today, but that was my plan today, was not to do anything. I made breakfast for my family this morning, and then I just kind of sat back, read a little bit, and got ready for trivia. All right, question number 4. Where did he get the food that he ate while being retried in sentencing? Question number 4. The correct answer is B as in boy. They catered in all of the food for him. And every single day he got 3 tacos for lunch and 3 tacos for dinner. He ate nothing else. It all came from a street vendor. He would not eat anything for breakfast except for black coffee. He drank black coffee. That was it. He refused to have anything else the entire time. And we're talking over the course of several months, of the retrial and then the sentencing phase of the trial itself. He ate nothing but food from a street vendor. Excuse me. All right, next one. I have no idea why these are blank. They should be filled in. That's supposed to be another one of those did you know, additional information. Oh well. Question 5. Towards the end of his life, when he was frail, an old man, and no longer a risk to anyone, what was the reason written down to refuse a compassionate release from prison? This was about 6 months prior to his actual death. They were trying to get him released on a compassionate release. Why? What was actually written down? Was it A, simply one word, denied? B, simply one word, dangerous? Or C, he will kill again? Or D, he must serve his sentence? What did they write down as the reason to deny his compassionate release from prison? Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. E, he eats too many tacos. Towards the end of his life. And this is a picture that you see on the screen there. That is the last photo that was taken of him prior to his actual death. He was in the hospital when they took this picture of him. The hospital at the penitentiary. He was in what do you call it, nurses wing, disabled wing, whatever you call it. They have a different name for it. Nice, but when they get out, they have to be like, nah, I'll take Taco Bell. Towards the end of his life, and when he was frail and an old man and no longer a risk to anyone, what was the reason written down to refuse a compassionate release from prison? The answer to question number 5 is A as in apple. They just simply wrote down denied. Denied a compassionate release from prison. They did one word, denied. If you answered A, you got it correct. Denied. Question number 6 is now on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. So we know he stabbed to death all his victims but one. He buried them all as well. What one other thing did he do to every single victim? This is all of them from number 1 through number 25. Was it A, he pulled their pants down around their ankles? B, had sex with every corpse? C, he slashed the faces of every victim? Or D, he placed Mexican pesos on their eyes? What other thing did he do to every other victim, that he murdered and buried? What else did he do? Question number 6. Who? D feels right. Gianna Marie is going with C. Magaskai, B. A little bit of Sandra, C. Cheryl, B. He had mountain lions eat them. Those pesky mountain lions. Question number 6. So we know he stabbed to death all his victims. Again, another error. It should be but one, not by one. These errors have got to be caused by autocorrect. He buried them as well. What was another thing did he do to every victim? Purple is going with D. Gamma D. If you answered either A, B, C, or D, you are correct. He did every single one of these. He pulled their pants down around their ankles and had sex with them. And then he mutilated by slashing the faces of every single victim. And then he placed pesos over their eyes. And then he buried them. So it doesn't matter which one of these you guessed, he did every single one of them. Or E. Yeah, E. I'll give you credit if you answered E as well. Could have sworn he pulled their pants down. He did, Carly. He pulled their pants down. He had sex with them. He slashed their faces, and he put pesos over their eyes. He did every single one of them. So it doesn't matter which one you guessed, you got it correct. All right, next one. Again, it's blank. I don't know why they're not filling in. Hopefully not all 12 of them are blank. Question 7. His mother said of Juan, he was a great son and brother. He was a hard worker and loved Jesus. He changed after what in 1955? Yes, she used the past tense when speaking of her living son. She said this right after he was convicted the first time in 1973 of the 25 murders, and she used the past tense. Was it A, his father died? B, his sister died? C, a flood that killed 37 people? Or D, his best friend was murdered? His mother said of Juan, he was a great son and brother, and he was a hard worker and loved Jesus. What changed after 1955 for him? Upright citizen and a wonderful human being. Question number 7. One Corona. Not my Sharona. My Corona. One Corona. Mel's going, A? Question mark. Taco poisoning. Mother said of him, he was a great son and brother. He was a hard worker and loved Jesus. Too bad that the knack. My Sharona. We got A for Gamma. Gianna Marie going with A as well. Mel. Cheryl C. Megasky. A. Dorothy Larkin. Moonlight. We're going with A. Kitty Q is going with C. He was a great son and brother. He was a hard worker and he loved Jesus. Okay, why are you speaking of your son in the past tense? He's still alive, unlike his 25 victims that he was just convicted of in 1973. But what changed in Juan's life in 1955? Ladies and gentlemen, for question 7, the correct answer is C, as in cat. There was a what they called the Great Flood of Sacramento Valley that happened in 1955, and it killed 37 migrant farmers. And after that, she said that he changed and he just, and became cold, and he just withdrew within to himself and wasn't the same loving son that she had raised in 1955. But the Great Flood of Sacramento Valley in 1955 that claimed 37 people. That's what her statement was. The entire statement was longer. Cheryl and Kitty Q. Okay, question 8. Piecing together a timeline of murders of Juan Corona is next to impossible, simply because no one knows where he was, or who he came across. Who was his first victim buried in the peach field? Was it A, Pedro Herman Lupa, B, John Stevens Doringo, C, John Joseph Haluka, or D, Pedro Duncan Costa? Costa. Sorry. Who was the first victim buried in the peach field? All those corpses changed him. Jimmy Hoppa. Where's Jimmy? He's buried in a peach field in California. Chad Daybell. There are, according to the FBI and their accounting of Juan Corona's timeline of murders, in case you're interested, there are a total of 9 years that are unaccounted for. They have no idea where Juan Corona was at during those times. They can only account for when he was working in the peach fields and when he was there as a boss on the peach field. His job in the peach field was not only picking the crops, but he was the boss. He was responsible for hiring, firing, and paying the migrant workers who came to the peach fields. That was his job. But there are 9 years that are missing. They're not all together in like 9 years, from one point to another. They're like a year here, 3 years there, 2 years there. They just don't know anything about where he was. But they know he wasn't working in the peach fields in that valley. Where are all his victims, Will? Well, the 25 that he was convicted of, they were all killed in one geographic like area, three different peach farms in the near Sacramento or down north, not north, south of Sacramento. All right, question number 8. Piecing together timeline of the murders of Juan Corona is next to impossible, simply because no one knows where he was or who he came across. Who was this first victim buried in the peach orchard? Question number 8. The correct answer is C as in cat. John Joseph Haluka was the first victim that he murdered and buried in the peach field. It is now time for our 6-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. Do what you need to do for the next 6 minutes. Get yourself something to drink, use the facilities, read a chapter of Chad Daybell's riveting novels. Do whatever you do, just watch out for mountain lions on meth and Yugos. Candidate for worst boss of all time. Amelia, have never heard of Juan Corona? They happened. He was originally convicted in 1973, and believe me, when it comes to somebody who murders 25 people, if you murder 25 people and you don't want the media to really pay a whole lot of attention to you, murder people that other people don't see or don't want to know that are even there. He murdered nothing but migrant farmers. And that's the actual, hate to say it, but that's the way that the media is. It's like, oh, these crimes happen to migrant farmers. They look at them as the outside of society, that they don't provide anything that's beneficial. It's wrong, but that's the way that they look at them. They don't report on the crimes that happen to the migrant farmers. I'd rather eat dirt than a peach. Good evening, Pat and Susan. Welcome to tonight's trivia. We are on break currently for, let's see here, we got almost 5 minutes left. Wouldn't be missed. That's true, Mel. They're here today picking crops, and tomorrow they're in Washington State doing asparagus, and then they're in Oregon doing something else, or they're back east doing other crops, strawberries or whatever. They move around a lot, and they're easy to to not miss. Oh, those two guys are gone. Okay, well they must have moved on to another orchard or another place to pick apples or asparagus or whatever it might be. Rather than read Chad Daybell's novels, eat dirt. Yeah, that's how a lot of these serial killers got away with it for so long. It's because the people just didn't miss the victim because they were on the outskirts of what society. So also as a boss, he could kill them and say they were fired or moved on, and no one would wonder. Yeah, that's true. That is true, Cheryl. We've got just under 3 minutes left of the break. And then we're back at it. Hopefully the rest of the presentation actually shows up. I have no idea why it's not showing it's just a blank screen there. How am I, Gemma? I am doing great. Relaxed, refreshed, ready for another week. Well, thank you, Gemma. I'm happy to see that you made it tonight to our trivia. I hope you have a pleasant week ahead. Remember, everybody, not just Gemma, but everyone, only you can control your future and only you can control your happiness. Smoke them if you got them. Smoke them if you got them. That's true. It's 4:20 somewhere. Minute and 30 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, on the break. And then we're back at it for question number 9. One minute, 10 seconds. Yes, I'm aware. Control my happiness. Focus on my channel. Makes me happy. There you go. Don't put stock into what other people say. If being a YouTube, creator of content was easy, Gemma, everybody would do it and everybody would be successful. It's not easy. And those who nitpick about what we do have never even tried to put themselves out there. And if they did, they would find that other people would nitpick about them. All right, we got 30 seconds left. I'm a bit freezing, although just moved from Michigan to Florida. You're cold? Oh no. I would move the other direction from Florida to Michigan. I like Michigan. 3, 2, 1. And we are back now. Question number 9. What other crimes besides murder did Juan Corona start with in California and most likely in Mexico as well before moving on to murder? Was it A, car theft, B, drug sales, C, drug manufacturing, or D, rape and sodomy? Sodom, well, it's supposed to be sodomy, sodomizing. It's not easy. I know that. You have to put up with me, with my crying and getting frustrated. Gamma, we're here and we watch your content. We're there for you because we love you and we want the best for you. All the above, says Amelia. Loitering, says Inner Peas. Loitering. What other crimes besides murder did Juan Corona start with in California, most likely Mexico as well, before moving on to murder? Medgasky, I think you might have the correct answer there, Medgasky. A, B, C, or D. It's one of those. We got C and D's, and we have an E. It's one of them. Question number 9. What did Juan Corona start with? Because no one just starts off with murder. There's usually something else out there that before they start murdering people. Carly, A, had no idea. Question number 9. The correct answer is D as in dog. There were several arrests and allegations of rape and sodomy in not only the United States, in California, but the person who committed the crimes matches Juan Corona's identification, what he looked like. And this was prior to, it was like 1970, 1971 in Mexico. But he was never convicted of the ones in Mexico. Well, kids and grandkids up here, but my friends down south says 74. And I look, oops, it's like 47 here. E, taco truck. Question number 9 was D as in dog. Question 10, ladies and gentlemen. According to a snitch that came forward to law enforcement after his final conviction, this is after 1983 when he was convicted again for the crimes. He told them that Juan Corona killed all those men and more. Why? This is according to a snitch, an informant for law enforcement. Was it A, they upset him, so he had to do it? B, they lied to him and rage made him do it? C, he did it for God? Or D, he blacked out and didn't remember it? According to a snitch that came forward to law enforcement after his final conviction in 1983, he told them Juan Corona killed all those men and more. Why? Excuse me. I'm not surprised. I cannot hide it. Mid gas guy is going with C. He did it for God. Gianna Marie is going with B. Kitty Q B. Someone took his Eggo waffle. Oh no. Keep your hands off my Eggo waffle. Cheryl's going with A. Juan Corona, a snitch, a law enforcement snitch, came forward and told them why. Juan Corona told him why he killed all those men and more. Why did he do it? I read he supposedly confessed, but didn't hear the why. That I'll get to that in a little bit, Kitty Q. To answer your question about if he confessed or not. Carly's going with D. Amelia C. According to a snitch that came forward to law enforcement after his final conviction in 1983, he told them that Juan Corona killed all those men and more. Why? Question number 10. The correct answer is A as in apple. They upset him in different ways. Either they didn't work hard enough or they did something else that he found, repugnant and it really upset him. So, he stabbed them and killed them and buried them and had sex with them. But that's what the snitch told, the FBI is that when it came forward and said, hey, this is what Ron Corona told me. He did it all because they upset him. You were called away. Yeah, you go with a lion smoking meth. Oh, those pesky mountain lions. I get it. All of the this is right here. You're supposed to see a slide of did you know, but they're all blank for some reason. I don't. They're two different slide things that are supposed to be showing up. One with all the questions. The other ones have the did you know. They're additional ones. I don't know why they're not working tonight, but at least the trivia questions are here. A question number 11. While in prison, Juan actually had a job. Matter of fact, he actually enjoyed working and was more peaceful and easier to get along with when he was working. What did he do for work? And that is a picture of him actually in his prison jumpsuit from his work. Was it A, janitor? B, he made license plates? C, he worked in the prison as a gardener? Or D, he worked in maintenance? What did he actually do for work in prison? Excuse me. Where is it? All right. And I got a little side note here for the different jobs in prison that he could have done, and how much each of those jobs paid per hour. I'll tell you all that after question 11. No clues, says Moonlight View. We got a Bible study. Bible study. Damn. Sorry for the coughing. Carl is going with A. Cheryl C. It's either A or F. Mountain lion tamer. Mountain lion tamer. Question number 11. The correct answer is C as in cat. He was a gardener, and he did not, at the actual prison that he was at the time, they grew some vegetables for the prison itself, but he wasn't allowed to work in that area because it was a more unsecured area. So they had him on detail of gardening, weeding around plants by the administration wing, doing tasks like that, mowing, whatever he needed to be done. He made 2 cents an hour. 2 cents an hour. All right, other jobs at the penitentiary at the time. This is in the 70s and going into the 80s. This is the other jobs that they had at the prison. Janitor made 4 cents an hour if you had a job as a janitor. If you made license plates, not this prison where he was at, but if you were at a prison that made license plates, you made 3 cents an hour. And they also had, where he actually really was, they had a retail shop. These contracts would come in and they would make things for other prisoners, coats, pants, jackets, shirts, stuff like that. Work shirts, not like t-shirts, but work shirts. Those people who worked in the sewing or manufacturing of these goods for other inmates in the state of California, prison, and this went for pants and jumpsuits and all that. They made 4 cents an hour. If they were working in maintenance, they made 5 cents an hour in maintenance. Now, this was in the 70s and into the 80s. They did see a spike, in what they were actually being paid. Right now, in the state of California, in case you were incarcerated for any extended period of time and you have a job, you're lucky to get a job. Everybody wants a job, but not everybody can have a job. The average pay in the state of California, you take the high and the low and all the ones in between, and you average them all out. It averages out to 60 cents an hour right now in the state of California for jobs. But when Juan Corona had his job, he was being paid piddling. So it does not pay to be in prison. But 2 cents an hour is something better. It's better than doing nothing at all. Question number 12. Juan Corona actually believed he would be released from prison for good. He even started making plans to be released on appeal. Where did he plan to go once released? Was it A, he wanted to go to Mexico, B, he wanted to go to Los Angeles, California, or C, San Diego, California, or D, Cleveland, Ohio? Sorry I missed this. I'll catch it. Catch the last half. Good evening, Sal, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. In-house tailors. But even now, in the state of California, the average is 60 cents an hour is what the average is. There's people who make a lot less, and there's some people who work in administration who, and some of them even have telemarketing jobs in the state of California. and those people make way more. But you take the average overall. You throw out the high, throw out the low, and you average all the rest of them together, and it's about 60 cents an hour. Doesn't pay. In case if you're interested, in the following states, if you have a job in prison, you make nothing. You get paid zero amount, no money at all. If you are in prison in Texas, Georgia, Arkansas, or Alabama, you don't get anything for the work that you do, but you must work. Refusal to work will end up, you'll end up being putting into the hole, solitary confinement. And in case you're wondering if that's constitutional, read the Constitution. It's basically slavery, but when it's in the Constitution, it says, right in there that they can do it to people who are in prison or in jail. So they don't have to pay any inmate for doing the work that they do. All right, where did Juan Corona want to go if he was eventually released on parole? For question 12, the correct answer is B as in boy. Los Angeles, California is where he wanted to go. After his final conviction in 1983, for the next 20 years after that, they fought the actual conviction and wanted the whole entire thing thrown out again. But in 1983, that one stuck. And he wasn't going to, he thought he was going to win on an appeal and he was going to get released from prison. They're being fed and housed anyways. Yeah, to a point, Mel. A lot of prisons, though, have gotten away from free room and board. You have to pay restitution once you're released for all the time that you were in prison. They found another way to punish an inmate once the inmate's released. Okay, here's your court fines, and here's your additional cost for housing you for all those years. So they end up paying for it anyway, so it's not free. And when it comes to like medical, dental, and stuff like that, a lot of prisons make the inmate actually have to pay a copay in order to go see a doctor or get glasses or go to a dentist. So they don't even offer that. In a lot of states, that's not even free anymore. They make them pay for that. Oh, it's $5 to go see a doctor. It's $5 to go see a dentist. And when you're making 60 cents a day, and you got that's a week's worth of wages, just if plus more, just to go see a doctor, and if you need something done, you may have to pay for that as well. All right, next one. Again, still blank. I don't know why. Question number 13. Like it or not, Juan Corona was clinically insane and never should have been tried for murder. There, I said it. What should have happened to Juan? Was it A, sent to the California State Mental Hospital to hang out with Ed Kemper for life? B, sent to Mexico to Federal Hospital for the Insane? C, spent life on a work farm? Or D, sent to a state hospital in Alabama for the insane? What should have happened with Juan Corona? In case you're wondering, why do I say that he never should have been convicted in the first place? Juan Corona was diagnosed with schizophrenia as a teenager. Even after the first trial and second trial and eventual third conviction for the murders themselves, Juan Corona was mentally incompetent to aid in his own defense. And if the whole case would be tried now in 2023, they never would have even gone forward and tried the case at all, because he was mentally insane at the time he committed the acts, and he was diagnosed as being a paranoid schizophrenic back as a teenager. But they still did it anyways. Unfortunately, 25 to 60 people lost their lives to this, this crazed madman in the first place. Don't get me going on this one, LOL. But that's the world we lived in the 1970s and 80s, and they knew all three of the juries, in each of the trials, the 1970, 73, and the 83, they all knew and they all heard, evidence on the fact that Juan Corona was schizophrenic, and if he wasn't on his medication, bad things happened, and he was mentally incompetent to aid in his own defense. And that's why during the second trial, his attorney didn't even want to talk to him, didn't want to question the evidence. He's like, no, you did it. His own attorney was like blatant to the fact that, he didn't want to help him. Just get this through and over with, so you go to prison forever. He didn't care, about aiding his client's actual defense. He should have been introduced to Chad and Lori. So maybe he didn't remember the crimes he committed. Oh, he had immaculate memory of the actual crimes and each victim. And now, when it comes to the actual confession, because Kitty Q asked us earlier, didn't he confess? Yes. To answer your question, Kitty Q, Juan Corona confessed to all 25 of the murders that he was actually convicted of. The problem is he was not in a mental state where the actual confession itself could have been used against him in trial. But he was convicted on more than enough evidence anyways, that he was guilty. But they couldn't read his actual confession into evidence even then, because, they knew the man suffered from schizophrenia when they arrested him. Oh my God, he's off his medication. They didn't even bother to try to medicate him, like where Lori Vallow, Vallow Daybell, they sent her away to the state hospital to get restorative care, and then brought her back and then tried her and convicted her of the murders of her kids. Where Juan Corona, they didn't care at all. And how many people ended up in prison like that, in other places around the United States, where they said, you know what, just try them anyways, just shut them up, so we can get through the trial, so we can send them away to prison. We electrocuted people who didn't have the ability to actually make the right or wrong decision. We sent people away for life in prison and watched them die there because, well, it was easier to do that, and put a number over on the check mark, that we're tough on crime. But okay, back to this one. I'm going off on a tangent there. Question number 13. The correct answer is A as in apple. He should have been sent to the state of California mental hospital for the insane to hang out with Ed Kemper, but he wasn't. He was instead convicted of all the murders, the 25 of them, and then sent off. And additionally, that why the FBI believes that the 9 years that are missing from his timeline is because he was, insane, and he was off his medication and nobody knew where he was. He probably wasn't even working. He was traveling around or just following and doing whatever the hell the voices wanted him to do. But they do believe, again, that he was responsible for at least 63 murders, in either the California, and going towards Texas, and following the migrant population from state to state as they, and area to area as they picked crops. The most murderers anyone has ever been convicted of at one time. Reminds me of the movie The Green Mile. Green Mile, that's a great movie. All right, next one. Oh my! I thought I was gonna go blank there for a minute, like the other ones. Whew. All right, question number 14. 17 of the 25 victims of Juan Corona worked at the same orchard as him. He actually hired them. However, he later told two different psychiatrists he believed that the men were what? So he killed them. Was it A, drug addicts, B, winos, C, tools of the devil, or D, serial killers sent to kill him? And this is the Newsweek, the actual magazine itself. This is the cover of it back in 1983, I think it was. But 17 of the 25 victims, Juan Corona worked at the same orchard. He actually hired them. However, he later told two different psychiatrists he believed the men were what, so he killed them. What was the reason for killing them, Sal? He killed them all because they made him mad. At least that's what, according to the jailhouse snitch, told law enforcement that Juan Corona admitted to, killing all those men plus additional more men than the 25 because they upset him. Meep. Good evening, Meep, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Moonlight is going with C or D. E, annoying. 17 of the 25 victims. Juan Corona worked at the same orchard as them. He actually hired them. However, he later told two different psychiatrists he believed the men were what? So he killed them. E, friends of Lori Vallow. Yeah, you gotta get rid of those friends of Lori Vallow, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want them sticking around. They might take your spot in line if you're one of the 144,000. Question number 14. You have to think about the victim and who Juan Corona was at the time. 17 of the 25 victims. Juan Corona worked at the same orchard as them, and he actually hired them. However, he later told two different psychiatrists he believed the men were what? Guess I'm really late. Never got the notification. Oh, I'm sorry, my peeps. I'm sorry, peeps, my peeps. Question number 14. The correct answer is B. He believed that they were winos and that they were trespassing on the orchard property and that they needed to leave, and they upset him. So he stabbed them and killed them and buried them. 17 of the 25 he believed were winos. See, again, he's a paranoid schizophrenic, and he didn't believe that these people worked there. He knew that he killed them. He remembered that, but he didn't remember hiring these people. He believed they were winos who were just trespassing on the orchard property. So, well, you can't just call the police and have them run off. No, you kill them and bury them if you're Juan Corona. Didn't know what winos were until then? That's an interesting little fact. I mean, the man, he hired these people and he still killed them because he didn't remember hiring them. He thought they were trespassers. All right, next. Again, blank. I'm thinking every one of them is going to be blank because sorry about that. Question number 15. You need to look at the photo really closely. This is an actual picture of the field where Juan Corona killed most of his known victims. In the upper portion of the picture, the trees make a backward S. Why was this area important to Juan Corona? Is it A, it's where the fresh water spring is? B, he had his home in this area? Was it C, he buried most of his victims here? Or is it D, he sodomized women here? So if you look at the tree line at the top, it makes kind of like a backwards S shape. Why was this area important to Juan Corona? He needed to apologize, Will. I thought they sat around and drank wine. I'm still sorry that the did you know portion of it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. And the only way for me to go in and try to correct it is I'd have to like stop the entire thing and then go back in and reload the entire thing. I might try that after I'm done, just so we can go through the did you knows. I don't know why they're all empty. Well, why they're not displayed, but whatever. Why was that area at the top of the picture? Why is that area and was it important to Juan Corona? Question number 15. You still don't have to apologize. Well, okay. Well, I feel I do, Mel. Why was this area important to Juan Corona in the upper portion of the picture that you see on your screen? For question number 15, the correct answer is B as in boy. In the area that is green there, that looks like there is nothing there, there are no trees there. There are no actual peach trees in that area. It was an area that was cleared to actually put the temporary migrant farm homes in. There were 5 different shacks there at one time, but they've all been torn down and they're now just off the edge of the property of this one farm. But it was important to him because this area is where his home was. B as in boy. Question number 16. Juan Corona had another skill besides killing. He was actually very good at what? Was it A, singing, B, painting, C, playing the guitar, or D, digging holes very fast? Juan Corona had another skill besides killing. He was actually very good at what? Oh, it's not going to show. It's not going to show any of the. Did you know it says there is an error? Formatting error. Oh well. Bagpipes. Watch it be D. Juan Corona had another skill besides killing. He was actually very good at what? Question number 16. Carly's going with B. Cheryl C. Gianna Marie C. My peep C. Sal's going with B. Mel C. Amelia D. Kitty B. Me. Will be as well. He appearing on the King Biscuit Flour Hour. Sandra A. All right, question number 16. The correct answer is not D. No, in fact, the correct answer for question 16 is C, as in cat. Juan Corona picked up and learned to play the guitar from the age of 5 years of age. And he used to perform with his father as a little tyke in this big, huge Mexican, like Spanish guitar. He would play it, with it sitting on his lap, and he would just pick out the strings. But as he got older and was able to hold it, they got him a smaller version of the same guitar, and he would perform with his father playing the guitar. He was actually pretty good at it, according to his family. But he had other skills besides killing. Playing the guitar. C was correct. He was also a good painter. All right. Bonus question. Bonus question number 1. This is a yes or no question. The FBI and California State Patrol detectives believe Juan Corona actually kill count is much higher than 25. They believe it's in a 60 plus range. Did Juan ever admit to any of the others though? Was it A, no, he refused to talk about them. B, yes, he loved to talk about it, but it was hard to keep him on track because his mind went off topic a lot. Either A, no, B, yes. Did he ever talk about the other murders and crimes themselves? Sandra's going with no, and yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, no. Yes or no? Did he talk about the murders or not? FBI and the State Patrol detectives believe the Juan Corona actually killed count is much higher than just the 25. They believe it's in the 60 plus range. Did Juan ever admit to any of the others, though? Yes or no? He doesn't look like the talking type. His mouth was full of tacos. Maybe, but if he did, it was only to mountain lions. That's a good one, Med Gas guy. He only confessed to mountain lions. Bonus question. Did he ever talk about the other murders? The correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is A as in apple. No. He refused to talk about them. He refused to talk about any of the other crimes, but the initial 25 that he was convicted of, he would talk about. And he would go on about it to other people, other inmates, other psychiatrists, but he wouldn't talk about any of the others. It was kind of like, you got to prove it. But he knew if he started talking about it that they were going to take him back to court and they were convict him of additional murders if they found him. So he kept his mouth shut about them. Wouldn't talk about them. All right. That is question number 2. There's just something about water and serial killers. Maybe it's just as simple as cleaning up after a fresh kill. Maybe it's to wash away the sins. Juan Corona visited this area of the river at least once after each kill. What was his reason? Was it A, to wash away his sins? B, to wash off the knife or machete he used? C, to wash his clothing, hands, and body off? Or D, just to get a fresh drink of water? Killing is hard and makes a man need and desire water. Dear mountain lion, you got one. There's just something about water and serial killers. Wash his clothes and hands off, says Amelia and Meep. Carla's going with C as well. Sal's going with B, and Amelia. Well, Amelia's either going with C or B. It's one of the two. Gianna and Moonlight are going with B. A little of Sandra A? Question mark? Just something about water and serial killers. In case you're wondering, Ed Kemper used to visit a body of water that was near the university. It was an inlet from that drained out into the ocean, but he used to visit that, and so did Gary Ridgway. The two of them that I can think off the top of my head that always visited waters or waterways. And of course, the serial killer always killed not serial killer, the Zodiac victims were killed near bodies of water. Juicy Juice. All right, bonus question number 2. The correct answer is C as in cat. To wash his clothes and hands hands and body off after each of the killings. Remember, again, each and every victim, except for one, were all stabbed to death. He then buried them facing up with their hands above their heads. He then sexually sodomized them or had sex with them or both, and then, and pulled their pants down around their ankles and placed pesos on their eyes. That, you get dirty doing that kind of work. But he always went to a body of water, this particular body of water, and washed up after each and every one of the killings. So how did you do tonight on the trivia? This is completely optional. You don't have to give yourself a letter grade. Some people like to, some people don't. Did you get 14 to 18 right? Getting better all the time. 8 to 13 could have done better. C, 3 to 7 correct. Was tricked by a mountain lion. Or 1 or 2, kidnapped by a man in a Yugo. Or did you get E? Don't judge me. You're a mountain lion expert. Amelia got 0. Or Meep got a D. Bonus questions are, again, only worth 1 point tonight. Next week, the 2 bonus questions will be worth 2 points each. But give yourself a letter grade. It's completely optional. We are only playing for fun and entertainment. It is not required that you do so. And why is this damn scroll back? I don't know what the hell is going on. I wonder if because the scroll there is the reason why it There's a formatting error with the did you know slides. I don't know. As my son would say, I don't know. I did bad. Not familiar with Juanito. Not bad, Will. I don't know my score, but I really enjoyed it. Well, good, Mel. That's the whole point of the entire thing. It's just for entertainment and knowledge, and maybe you learn something. Maybe it piques your interest. You want to read more about the people we do the trivia nights about. Carly, 4 wrong. I did terrible, but I had fun. I hope you all have a great week. You as well, Sal. Thank you for joining us tonight. Why does he put money on their eyes? Um, me, I think it's something that has to do with um, it's like a ritual practice for. I mean, they're not from his culture and other cultures that they're not the only ones that have done things like that. For Vikings, they used to always, bury certain items with their, the deceased Viking. Um, People in other countries have always buried certain things with them. Money. Look at the Egyptians; they, were buried with, their cats and other things for the afterlife. So, placing coins on the eyes of someone you murdered. I don't know why you would do it, but it could have been ritualistic in nature. But that'd just be a guess on my part. I mean, you can't exactly ask the guy because he's dead now why he did it. I think it's part of the Mexican ritual. Pay for the ferryman. Stay safe out there and be careful. You never know who's standing next to you. You never know who's going to be knocking. Love my 401. Oh, thank you, Purple. I hope your husband's doing better. We're still saying prayers for him every night. That either way, well, there's some people the Juan Coronas of the world, serial killers. There's no real reason, rhyme or reason why they do things. I mean, in their mind, they do them, for a reason. I mean, I hate to use him as an example all the time, but Gary Ridgway used to, he'd kill a woman, dump her body, but he always planned on coming back. Ted Bundy did basically the same thing, but they would always, bring the same color of lipstick to apply lipstick to the dead woman that they killed, that they abandoned. And that's what how Bundy gave him, a profile, his profile of himself, basically, to help catch the Green River Killer. He told him, "Look, man, whenever you find a victim, leave him alone. He's going to be back," because that was Bundy's mo. Is he always went back. I don't know if he went back to the ones he removed the heads of, though, and that's a lot of people forget about that. Bundy, some of the women that he killed, he decapitated and he kept their head, with him for weeks on end. But he'd keep on going back to the corpse until um, decomposition had set into a point that disgusted him. And the same thing with Ridgway. Kemperwood. Kemper's an interesting man. Well, I find Kemper interesting. That's just me, though. From the psychological, side of it, and additionally his intelligence. Yeah, sure. There, people have pointed out there have been other serial killers out there, who were on the brilliant scale. Really, intellectually smart. Why don't I find them interesting? Because I haven't studied them as much as I have studied Kemper in his crimes. Well, my dear friends, Thank you for the fun, and thank you so much, Will, for another great evening. Well, thank you, Mel. I appreciate you being here with us. I hope you have a safe and terrific weekend. Don't forget, Monday morning before 10 a.m. So tomorrow, before 10 a.m., I post a trivia question on my community tab on YouTube, where you can get an idea of what next week's trivia is going to be about. I remember when they executed Bundy back in '89. So does Kitty Q. Kitty Q had, I think she still has a T-shirt. I think she said from Fry Bundy Fry. He used to put them in a bowling bag. And then there's like people like Jeffrey Dahmer who kept them in the refrigerator or in 55-gallon drums in his home. You too, Will. I'll check it out tomorrow morning. Well, thank you, Mel. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you stopping in and playing trivia with us tonight. And I hope to see you all again next week. On your way out the door tonight, if you wouldn't mind, hit that thumbs up if you had fun. If you didn't enjoy the trivia, please, give it a thumbs down. I respect and need the actual feedback. If you're watching it and rewind, please, leave a comment, underneath the video. 5 a.m. comes fast. My dad used to tell me 4 a.m. comes pretty early in the morning. So, but again, everyone, thank you again for being here tonight, for trivia. And I really do hope you all have a terrific week ahead. And stay safe out there. Bye.